Alex Hormozi has just revealed his entire content strategy, including his strategy for LinkedIn, that resulted in him making over 57 million for his business. Now, as someone who's generated over 2 million for our clients using LinkedIn, even I learned a lot from his insights. Forget everything you've heard about when it comes to LinkedIn best practices. Most of it is complete BS. Hormozi revealed the real reason why 99% of you are wasting your time on LinkedIn. So in this video, I'm breaking down Hormozi's game-changing advice and showing how you exactly can implement it to book in 30 plus qualified calls in the next 90 days. Now, this is the same strategy that helped one of our clients land a $250K whale from a single LinkedIn post. So if you're a business owner tired of fighting for scraps, ready to land a consistent 5 and 6-figure deal pipeline, pay close attention. This video could be the difference between barely scraping by on LinkedIn and booking in 30 calls per month consistently. So let's dive in and unlock the LinkedIn goldmine Hormozi has been keeping secret.
I have zero desire to become famous for the sake of being famous, like none. There's actually just a lot of costs with that. What I wanted was business owners. And so we tested out actually the last 90 days, so leading up to 2 weeks ago, I made almost exclusively very wide content. So it was like relationship stuff. We made fitness stuff like food, food video. We made advice to my younger self, like things like that. And so we got more overall views, but in terms of throughput from those views to high quality like applications into the business, or just even book sales, which I use as like kind of a looser metric for quality of eyeballs, went way down. And so we have completely, one of the big shifts I'm doing is I'm basically making almost exclusively business content.
So here I think Hormozi is incredibly right about generally in social and even more so correct about LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, people are scrolling because they actually just want to read business content. Like that's the whole of LinkedIn more or less. People are reading because they want to grow their business, they want to hire, they want to do something in their business. So it doesn't really make much sense to be on LinkedIn not posting about business content as a first point. The second point to note is this idea of focus. And I think Hormozi, again, nailed it on the head. The more focused you are in your content, in your outreach, the more specific you are to your ideal customer persona, the more qualified calls you're going to book in and the more of the correct attention you're going to get. In fact, like our data is basically showing that we don't care about impressions that much. We don't care about follower numbers that much. For us, these metrics are not really correlated to booking in more calls, because when you try to game those metrics, you actually end up bringing in an unqualified audience into the funnel. So the most important thing here is focus and being really focused on the content you're producing.
And the theory goes like this. You make entertaining content, and then the theory states that people who watch that content then will go to more educational content. Okay? Sounds simple enough. We've got something wide, we've got something narrow. Fantastic. But in our experience, in my experience, and based on our book sales, based on our email opt-ins, and based on the applications we receive at acquisition.com to become portfolio companies, it works much more like this, which is that entertainment people want more entertainment content. And education people want more, say it with me, education content. And so in other words, these people do not become these people, not in any appreciable rate that we would build a business around. And they certainly don't read the books, join the email list, or apply to become portfolio businesses. So if I want more of these people, then they deserve the stuff that they value.
So this is so true. I think all of our data supports this point of view, but it supports in a slightly different way when it comes to LinkedIn. We have this term that we use and we've coined it outcome-based marketing. And effectively what it means is that when we create content online for our profiles or for our client profiles, we solely talk about the outcome that we deliver. So if you're a paid agency or paid ads agency, you should be talking about how you deliver better ROAS. If you're an SEO agency, you should be talking about how fast you get people to rank #1 on Google. Point is, when we create content about the outcome that people want, those people come into the funnel. So exactly the same way that Hormozi was saying, if you create education content, people that want to be educated come in. When we create outcome content, people that want an outcome, and i.e. want to buy your service and outsource that service, will also come inbound to you too. So every post in some way should be trying to highlight or subtly mention the outcome that you're trying to deliver in a way that allows you to create contextually relevant content for your ICP. Now, why this matters is because, as Alex Hormozi said, broader content may get views, but it doesn't result in the outcome that you want at the end, or the action or the conversion mechanism, which is them booking in a call with you or them inquiring about your services. You have to be extremely intentional intentional about what you post to bring those people into your funnel. So in other words, on LinkedIn, if you want to get results, your content must be aligned with what the outcome your ICP wants.
Big shift is how to how I. I say this a lot, but people still don't do it. Like if you say like how to, 3 ways to blah, 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 kind of sucks. Like everyone says it, like the amount of people's profiles that I see that have like 5 followers, they're like 6 neat tricks that just like no one gives a shit, right? It's 6 ways I helped this person do something, or 6 ways because the thing is like, how is it unique? Well, there's only one of you. And you have the clients that you've worked with. Like my case study stuff are videos that I make them like, no one else can make this content.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. I notice it in the school games. It's like opinion pieces versus like a story about something that happened.
Right.
Like the worst thing, I hate it when I see someone do a post and it's like, how to be successful, 6 things. I look at their profile, they've got 1 member in their group, which is them.
Yeah.
And they haven't even commented on anyone's stuff. So I'm like, shut up, basically.
Yeah. We've seen how-I content outperform how-to content as well, but on a slightly different dimension. We see how-to content as getting loads of impressions. It's how you can be broad and generic to the market. When we do how-I content, it typically comes in the form of a case study. So like Alex Hormozi said, how I took a person from X to Y. Our how-I content kind of has a similar mechanism behind it. Now, the result of that is your how-I content is more bottom funnel. And so it definitely sometimes can get less impressions. But on the flip side, it does so much better for conversions. And that's because this educational piece of content that, you know, typically was a how-to post has become infused with your personal brand. And so now when someone wants to buy a product from you, they're associating this process, this education, this result with your personal brand, which is what helps you book in calls from LinkedIn. So that the key point here is when you write a post, you want to almost bake in your authority really early in the hook. And one of the best ways to do that is to say the word I or me or us or we. And even better is even to add a competency statement behind that hook. So an example of a competency statement before a hook is something like, I scaled my gym to 5 million in revenue. Here's the 5 steps that I took. So this way you're baking in a story even more than a how I statement, but you're adding in the educational piece too, which really hooks people in because they want to read that listicle or those series of ideas that you're about to explore. So the key takeaway here is you want to be using your authority and your personal statements and your case studies within your hooks and within your content to actually drive connection between you and the reader, and so that they believe that you are the bridge or the mechanism to take them from their current state to their new state. So like Hormozi said, you're the only person that can say I. And so it's an amazing way to differentiate yourself from the market and to look different than everyone else.
And so after we did that for, I think it was like 3 or 4 months, we just kind of like went pretty wide with the content. I made a college video, I made a relationship video, I made a handful of videos on like philosophy stuff that I'm into. And what happened was the actual objective metrics of the business, our opt-ins went down, book sales went down, but we got more views and more subscribers. And so it's really, really tempting to start getting into the vanity metrics of views, and views, subscribers, followers, whatever. But I never did this to get famous. I did this to get richer, to be very clear. And I always want to, I always like to be very transparent about that.
So I think Hormozi has nailed it on the head. There is literally zero correlation, or very little correlation at least, between when you get lots of views and likes and engagement and followers and all these top funnel metrics and the bottom funnel metrics, which is like opt-ins, high quality booked in calls, closed deals. There is a huge disconnect. So when you optimize for the wrong thing, which is a top of funnel metric, you end up inadvertently bringing in the wrong people to your funnel, and it makes everything a lot more ineffective. I think what's crazy is he was doing more volume, if not the same volume, and just shifting the topic probably cut his ROI in half. And that's like a crazy statement to make. How many strategies do you think you're running right now where you're probably just targeting slightly incorrectly and therefore like you're not seeing the ROI that you should be? Just like Hormozi's shift from edutainment into education, it's the exact same play on LinkedIn. You really want to be giving in-depth content and value on LinkedIn because that's what the platform wants and that's what your ideal customer looks like and the type of content they consume. So let's look at Alex Hormozi's LinkedIn profile. Now, Alex Hormozi has a huge amount of brand and market. Everyone kind of knows what he does already. So there is an element of he's able to make a few shortcuts because of the brand that he's built. But let's look at his profile. Awesome, clear profile picture, very clear acquisition.com, what he does, school, his product, and then his 3 main lead magnets and his new one coming out soon. This is like awesome. It's like almost in a second I know that he runs a couple big companies which everyone knows who they are, and he's got some books that are out. It's extremely high clarity. Then his headline is Day Job, I invest in scale companies at acquisition.com. Like awesome. It really stands out in the feed. Co-owner at school.com, and then side hustle. I make free content showing how we do it. Personally, I feel like it could be optimized better, but this is Alex Hormozi, so what can you say? I think that he can explain I invest in scale 50 million EBITDA companies, or whatever that number is. But clearly he's trying to make content for the whole of the market and trying to educate a lot of the market, hence why his content is quite broad and open. His about section is a transformation story, which works really well on social. You want to talk about where you were before and where you're going to, and this is typically a really good model for investors, coaches, consultants. Talking about a transformation story is amazing. He provides all his social proof, and then he says, if you own a profitable EBITDA company, reach out to us and we can help you grow faster. Like, that's awesome. Very clear that he has a CTA in here at the end of his about statement, and he's able to push you to all his other social links. His featured posts are best performing posts, essentially. I don't think they're like amazingly optimized for a CT action, or to like, go buy the book or go look at 100 million leads or 100 million offers. But what it does do is all his social proof here is to explain that he is legitimate. I left my consulting job, my last company sold, I have many businesses. It's very clear that this guy is a serial entrepreneur by this statement, and that's what he's trying to communicate. There you have it. Implement what I've shared and you'll be light years ahead of the LinkedIn gurus still peddling outdated advice. But here's the cold hard truth. Knowing this information is only 20% of the battle. The other 80%, flawless execution, day in, day out. That's why we've helped over 40 agencies implement this exact LinkedIn strategy, resulting in millions in new revenue and completely transforming their business. If you're ready to hand over the keys and have a team of LinkedIn specialists fill your calendar with 15 to 30 high ticket calls every single month, here's what you should do next. Click the link in the description below to book a free strategy session. We'll order your LinkedIn presence, find the low hanging fruit, and identify exactly how you can fill your pipeline with dream clients in the next 30 days. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.